In the last update, I built up more of the town scene, prison scene, built up the letters for Pirates of the Caribbean, and a lot of other random details. In this update, I built up the cave, the drop, finished the town scenes, and build the whole ride up to the top level. Keep watching to see it all. Alright, we're back. So pretty much the next step is just to build all of this up. It'll actually be taller than this. This is just the front portion. The rest of it will be about 5 bricks taller. And before we can really do any of that, we need to start with finally getting this drop. I've tried a lot with the drop, but now it's time to officially get it in. Ran into another alignment problem. I've never had as many alignment problems with any other LEGO project I've ever built as I have had with this one, but this is kind of relating back to the alignment issue that I had last time, and I finally found out somehow this side right here is 1 stud longer than this side. Not sure exactly when that happened, but I don't really care to find out. I'm just gonna get it fixed. This might be a bigger problem than I realized. I think at this point I'm just too far in that I can't completely rechange the structure of everything, so I'm just going to have to move that piece connecting these. Hopefully that'll solve the problem and everything can still fit. Alright, my plan for this drop, I'm thinking I'll just get a bunch of pieces together so that this plate can sit here comfortably, and then I can build up the plate to be that nice waterfall down to the rest of it. And after that's all in, then we'll get to the last few plates. The drop will start somewhere around here, curve down. Got the drop built up now, where it stops at the perfect point right over here, and then can get picked up and continue on. Now we're just building up some more of this. Got the wall there. Trying to get everything built up here, which includes the ending scene with Jack Sparrow surrounded by all the treasure. So we're gonna get that built in real quick too. As I'm building all these cave scenes up, I realize I need to start thinking about the bayou scene and the placement for that, because that's going to be right on top of this, and I'm going to need the gears and everything in place right above this and below the plates there. So I've measured out roughly where the plates will be, and I just need to figure out the exact space, kind of the dimensions for here. Need that space where the gears will be. And so I'll just build cave all the way up to right before that. After some calculating things out, this is the height I've determined the cave scenes need to be. So now we're just gonna build up all the cave scenes to that, and then we can move on to finish the rest. Just lost a piece under here. Gonna see if we can recover it. Oh, there we go. Oh, almost lost again. Okay, tweezers are good for that. This is all starting to come together just how I envisioned it, with these openings to look inside and kind of feel like you're within the cave. Now this is kind of just the fun part when I've done all the thinking and I can just build this whole cave up. Before I can move on building any more of the cave, I need to figure out this second part of the drop. I guess the first part of the drop. Something like that in there. It's going to be a bit darker. I've got some kind of light colors there and a lot of white colors too to appear like the water moving and splashing. And for this upper portion, I'll use some colors like these to capture more of that darkness of the scene. Alright, now that I've got most of the cave scenes built up, it's time to start building everything on top of this. I almost forgot to include this skull piece that I meant to have, so had to take everything apart momentarily, but now it's all back. So now we're starting to get the gears in place for the bayou scene. Basically just have this right on top, and then it's all connected here. So these will all be turning at the same time. This other track just be going around here, taking it through and dropping it off at the drop. Now I've got this all connected. As you can see, a lot of this is basically the exact same from the first update I did. Same way, building all this. As I move one, the other moves with it. So it's all connected, upper and lower portion. I was about to start putting plates in, but I started to get a better idea, I think. After looking at this from the top view from so long, I figured maybe with the same underwater technique that I was doing over there where I had different items underwater, I could just use all of these and save on more tiles, and then you can see underneath the water at all the cave scenes, and that could be a really cool effect. I've got this sort of set in place for now. We'll switch up a lot of stuff for that, but just a placeholder. But the bigger thing, been building all this up, and now it's finally ready for this front to go on top. Alright, we're going back and forth between that and finishing some of the ride scenes back here. So I've got this scene figured out now. Before, with the spinning mechanism I had, they kept running into these walls at the edges. It was a little too tight, and so I got this the smallest space it could be, so now they don't hit any of those walls. So now we're just going to build the rest of this up. Building up this scene with Jack Sparrow in the barrel looking over at the map, I used these Technic pieces with 1x3 tiles over them to create that barrel. I've got this railing now all set up, even at those weird angles all around here. So now I'm going to start getting these arches in above this at different angles. So now I've got a lot more of this whole section done. Lots of the plants and flowers around there, blending in a little bit with the next scene, and chasing the pirates, both levels at the same time. So I still need to build up a little bit there, but we're moving on. Just kind of going to be all over the place, building up this last scene a bit more, finishing that, and getting the rest done. Now that I know I won't be using as many tiles as I had expected for the upper portion, I'm starting to get more of the tiling in for the water down here, and I have a bit more to use now. Now I've got all the tiles in for the town scene. I included a little splash there from the gunshots and cannon fires of that last scene. And over here for the boat, I have different pieces to keep the boat in place where it needs to be. Now on to this scene, the last part with these water tiles. I have the different splashes there, kind of three different types. One that's about to start, maybe in the middle or end, and then one right in the middle, a high splash. And I included a cannon firing from the castle walls as well as from the pirate ship. I've just got that off right now because I'll do the same thing as this, but I'll have some pieces in place to keep it there and then kind of go from there. Been having to switch out a lot of these yellow hands. Now I've got all the different minifigs in and the other ground details, so these parts are all done. You've got the auction scene over here. It's the guy in the well. Jack Sparrow hiding behind there. And so obviously I need to build these buildings up. But besides that, everything else is totally done with this first scene. And now we can keep moving on. So I'm building everything up, preparing for the bayou scene. I've got a few supports underneath these technic parts. Keep that level. At first I thought this was a huge problem. There's just not enough space there when this needs to turn and the line is supposed to continue there. But I realized I can just have the lift go a little higher, a drop that brings it, it's caught right here, picked up and continues on. Start building the lift higher and getting that set in place. Got this all connected so that now I can spin it from up here. Spin the lift up. Now we're just building up here, and I'm trying to conserve on a lot of these gray pieces that I'll need later. So since this is the bayou scene and it's pretty swampy, the layer right before the plates, we're just using all these transparent green pieces. See how it works. So I added a few more little details under there. This is more of the dark green, but also bone, little piece of gold, since that was just a gray spot. I had to break this apart a couple times to keep changing things, fixing things. Now I've got these all connected, so it should be a bit stronger. I'm gonna build it back together now. If you've been watching my other updates, then you know this drop is what has taken me possibly the most time in this whole thing figuring out. But now we're finally getting to the last part of it, and then the whole thing will be completed. Alright, I had to do a lot of these black tiling here to keep it off the edge since it kept running into that. But now, after all this, the drop hopefully officially works. So it'll be somewhere like this. It gets pushed. Perfect, right at the spot it needs to for it to get picked up. I've spent so long trying to figure out this drop. It feels great to finally get it totally working. Now it's time to keep building the rest of this up. So now I am basically done with the whole ride part of this, aside from a few areas that just need to be built up. But this doesn't mean that I will never change anything. There's still a few things I could change, but as of right now, this is the completed ride. These ride scenes. I just need to build up a lot in the middle here. The end of the cave scenes, that gunfight at the end. I'm running very low on these dark gray bricks, so we're just trying to figure out which ones to use to finish that up. But everything else is totally done. And then it'll all be built up to that same level. You can see that's already started here. So that New Orleans square can be above all of this. I love seeing this view here where you can see the whole layout of the ride. I mean, besides some of the lower ride scenes. You can see that whole track just winds around, comes back. So I need to get this bayou scene done, which includes the last bit of the line and the restaurant as well. But besides that, I literally just have to build this up, and then the entire ride portion of this is done, and it'll just be New Orleans Square after that. Thanks so much for watching that update. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to check out other rides I've built in LEGO and subscribe so that you don't miss this when it's finished.